I am just discussing in this clip the tutorial session catch up that I am asking to be attended by everyone who I unfortunately had to cancel the class on a couple of weeks ago for the Change Management Topic 7 lecture. This chat session will be on the 29th of the 4th, so that's this Saturday from 10:30 a.m. through to 11:30 a.m. What I would like you guys to do before you come into the chat is to watch the video in this link. If you actually go into the chat link that is on the Moodle site at the moment for the unit, then you will see an embedded version of the video there, so you can watch it there. Watch the video. As you watch the video, then bear the 3 questions in mind that I've posed. And if you can write down some notes, then once you watch the video, consider your answer and write down a solid answer for each of the 3 questions. Then on Saturday, when we go into the chat session, we will discuss your answers in the chat. So the video is of a gentleman called Jason Clark. Jason Clark is a change expert. He helps companies to embrace change initiatives. He's hired as a professional to go in and do that. I think it's a fantastic TED Talk. He talks about some examples that he's experienced in his life of dealing with change, dealing with the resistance to change that is commonly found in organizations. And so I think he can add a very valuable perspective to this discussion. So the questions I would like you to consider. First is, how can you convince the staff of a company that change is the best thing for them? Mr. Clark discusses specifically this, even in a circumstance where he is going into a company where the staff have literally just been laid off. So he is then discussing change in that context. Obviously, their change is not going to involve staying within the company, but he's trying to get them to a perspective where they are positive about the future. Quite a challenging thing to do, but I think he makes a good case that he actually does manage to do this. So what were the main ways, the second of the questions, what were the main ways to reduce resistance to change? So he goes through some great suggestions of ways in which systematically that resistance to change can be reduced by change managers dealing with staff who are pushing against the drive to change that the company has created. Then the third question is a personal question. It's, when in your own life have you had to overcome your resistance to change? We as human beings have a natural tendency to be resistant to change, as I discussed in the 3 video lectures that I have already posted. This is obviously for change that we see to be disruptive, maybe challenging to us. We could think that the change might be negative, the outcome for the change to us might be negative. So when have you had that in your life? How did you overcome the resistance, if you did overcome it, and what was the outcome? The outcome might have been negative. If that's the case, then please feel free to discuss that. Or if the outcome was positive or neutral, then obviously please discuss that. So for these 3 questions, you can take the time to watch the video clip and then write down a short answer. And then when we get into the chat session on Saturday morning, we'll talk through your answers, and maybe you can share your experiences there. So I'll be online at least sort of 5 minutes before the chat starts. If you follow the link, you should be able to enter the chat a few minutes beforehand, and the chat will remain open for an hour. If you can't access the chat, or if you can't be there during that time because you have other commitments, then at the least, if you could please watch the video, answer the questions, and then watch through the video of the chat, because the chat will be recorded. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. I hope you've had a pleasant couple of weeks off.